Tet Aleph.
Yeah.
Said Rabbi Akiva, from where do we learn that an object of idolatry transmits tumor contamination by carrying, like a menstruant? For it is stated, cast them away like a menstruant, go out, shall you say to it. Just as a menstruant transmits tumor contamination by carrying, so does an object of idolatry transmit tumor contamination by carrying. From where do we learn that a ship is not susceptible to tumor contamination? For it is stated, the way of a ship in the midst of the sea. From where do we learn that a garden bed that is 6 by 6 handbreadths may be sown with 5 types of seeds, four on the four sides of the garden bed and one in the center? For it's stated, for like the earth, it will give forth its plant, and like a garden, it will cause its seed to grow. Its seed is not stated, but its seed. One more. Okay. From where do we learn that a woman who emits semen on the third day is tummy? For it is stated, be prepared for 3 days. From where do we learn that we may bathe the circumcised infant on the third day, even if it falls on Shabbos? For it is stated, and it came to pass on the third day when they were in pain. From where do we learn that a strip of red wool is tied on the head of the goat that is set out? For it stated, if your sins will be like crimson, they will become white as snow. Okay, good.
And continuing on these Minayans, the Minayans, just by the way, we kind of took a took a little wander around the garden path because there was in the last mission of the previous peric there was a limit about how much cheres a person has to carry in to be chayav, and there was a machlokes about it, and I brought a pasuk to prove how it was and whatever. So once we're using psukim to prove interesting things that without solid proof, but just to give a sort of an asmachta, let's say, something of how to what to base it on. So okay, so we're going to bring a few others. Minayin nasicha sheikashtia b'Yom Kippurim. How do we know that anointing is tantamount to drinking on Yom Kippur? So taking oil and rubbing it on your skin on Yom Kippur is like drinking. Okay. There's no real proof for the matter, but there is a mention of it. Shenemar v'tavok kamayim b'kirbo v'chashemen b'atzmasa. We have a pasuk in Tehillim that compares oil that goes in through your skin to the water that comes in through your mouth. So there's the basis for saying that sicha is like shtia. Okay.
Mhm.
And having been through all of these various psukim, we now return to our main subject, which is what quantities of what substances is considered carrying in Rosh Hashanah. Motzi eitzim, somebody's taking out wood. How much wood is there? Kedei levashel beitzek kala, enough wood to make a fire that would make a soft boiled egg. Okay. Tavlin, kedei letabel beitzek kala, and once we're talking about boiled eggs, how much spice would you need to spice a boiled egg? Umitztarfin zemze, and two different spices would join with each other to make up this shear. Klipe egozim. What about the shells of nuts? Klipe rimonim, or the shells of rimonim. Istis upua is reed grass. What are these species? How do they translate?
Nutshell, pomegranate shell, wood or mada, enough to dye the smallest cloth in the headdress.
Enough to dye this. Okay, so these are things that are used for dyes. Enough to dye the smallest significant garment, right? So, which is basically a headdress. Okay, meraglaim, urine. Okay, if somebody's carrying urine to give to their doctor as a sample or whatever, I don't know. But meraglaim, neser uboris, also these other substances. Neser is um, the and Kamunia and Ashlag. So these are all things that can be used as detergents. Give me the names
Right.
of English.
Urine was used in olden times to remove difficult stains, and nita follows Rashi. Uvarat, avarim, ris is soap, a cleaning agent of vegetable origin. Saltworth is a plant found in alkaline regions, which is a cleansing agent. It's dried and ground and used to remove dirt. The Mishna, never see that eslag is a kind of mineral substance used for cleansing,
All right.
and that's
Okay, so these are all kind of detergents. Kedei lechabes bahin beged katan bisvacha. So what? So
yeah.
again, the same beged that we had for the coloring is the beged that we look at for washing. How
Mhm.
much would be good enough to wash this garment? Rabbi Yehuda says kedei lahavir es hakesen. Now, if you remember from when we learned Maseches Nida, that we were looking to see how can you tell the difference between blood and a red paint, and you go through all of these you go through all of these washing stages, these seven different things that
Right.
wash it, and if it comes out, then it's neither blood, and if it doesn't come out, then it's dye or paint or something. Okay, so that's Rabbi Yehuda's opinion, but that's not the halacha. Okay, pilpilis, pepper, kosher. Okay, any amount of pepper it gives flavor, and you'd be higher for carrying pepper. Now that's quite heavy because you could accidentally, you had some pepper that you were having at lunch, and some of it fell onto your clothing. Uh, you got it. Okay, that would be shalokadarka if you did it like that. But if you intentionally took pepper out, even in the smallest measure, you'd be high. Itran. Itran is we saw that
Tar. It's
in
tar.
Turkey.
They call it tar.
Right,
Itron is tar.
right, that's the one that you're not allowed to light with.
Mhm.
Okay, kosher. Mine besamim umine matechos kosherhen. Any kinds of spices and metals, any amount.
Mhm.
Matechos. Um, because the besamim could be used for smelling, if in any amount, and any small amount of metal could be used to make a kli katan. So therefore, it's you'd be chayav on that. Me'avnei hamizbeach or me'afar hamizbeach. So what if you had stones from the mizbeach or dust from the mizbeach, mekek svarim, or the worn out scrolls, mekek mit bechoseim, or worn out wrappings that from the scrolls, kol shehen shematznian osan legonzan, because these things get put away for Geniza, no matter how small they are. Therefore, they are considered significant. Once they're considered significant, then carrying them makes you chayav. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Afa motzi mimashmeshe avodah zarah. Same thing goes for anyone who carries the accoutrements of avodah zarah. Kolshu, any amount. Shenemar v'lo yidbak biyadcha me'uma min hacherem, and you should, because as the pasuk says, you should not let any amount of the things that are forbidden, stick to your hands, and that's talking about avodah zarah, which gives the impression that anything
Right.
relating to avodah zarah is also chayav b'mashahu.
Okay. All right. It says interesting. It says tar is sometimes used as was used as a remedy for migraines. I
Really?
don't know. I
Uh,
don't get that.
I'm not sure about what the FDA said about that.
Yeah, I don't know which is worse, the migraine or the tar. All right. Vav Aleph.
Maybe that's why cigarettes people smoke cigarettes, but when they get headaches, huh?
They do? I didn't know that. Really?
I don't know. They've
Oh.
from withdrawal symptoms, so they have to smoke the animal. Yeah.
With what may a woman go out and what may she not go out? A woman may not go out neither with woolen threads, nor with linen threads, nor with straps that are on her head, nor may she immerse herself in a mikveh with them unless she has first loosened them. Nor may she go out with a frontlet, nor with head bangles when they are not sewn, nor with a forehead pad into which a public domain, nor with a golden city, nor with a necklace, nor with nose rings, nor with a ring that bears no signet, nor with a needle without an eye. And if she went out, she is not liable for a sin offering. A man may not go out with a hobnailed sandal, nor with a single one, but there is no wound on his foot, nor with a tefillin, nor with an amulet, when it is not from an expert, nor with a coat of mail, nor with a helmet, nor with greaves. But if he went out, he is not liable for a sin offering. A woman may not go out with a needle that has an eye, nor with a signet ring, nor with a coca-shaped head ring, nor with a spice bundle, nor with a perfume flask. And if she went out, she's liable for a sin offering. These are the words of Rameh, but it can come an exempter in the case of a spice bundle or a perfume flask.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. And Orla. Okay, Orla. Base Vav. Base Hay. No, base Vav. Now concerning what did they say whenever causes deferment or flavors or which renders meduma, the ruling is stringent. In the case of like kinds, stringently or leniently. If they are of different kinds, how so? If leaven of wheat fell into dough of wheat and it suffices to leaven it, then whether it is outweighed by 100 to 1, it is not outweighed by 100 to 1, it's forbidden. If it's not outweighed by 100 to 1, then whether it suffices to cause fermentation, or it does not suffice to cause fermentation, it is forbidden. Stringently and leniently if they are different kinds. How so? If, for instance, crushed beans have been cooked with lentils and they impart a flavor, whether they are outweighed by 100 to 1 or they're not outweighed by 100 to 1 is forbidden. If they do not impart a flavor, whether they're outweighed by 100 to 1 and they're not outweighed by 100 to 1, it's permitted. If leaven of chulin fell into a dough of chulin, and it suffices to leaven the dough, then before no, I'm doing the wrong thing. Sorry. If leaven of chulin fell into dough and it suffices to leaven, and then leaven of truma fell in, or leaven of kelai hakarim, then it suffices to leaven. It is forbidden. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. No.
Shabbos.
Where's Shavuos? They also said before him, Reb Eliezer used to say, "He who eats bread of the Kutins is like one who eats pork." He said to them, "Be silent. I will not say what Reb Eliezer says about this. If a bath has been heated with 7 year stubble, or 7 year straw or stubble, one is permitted to wash in it. If he is a distinguished person, he may not wash in it." Rue, goosefoot, goosefoot, purslane, hill, coriander, wild parsley, and meadow berries are exempt from moisture and may be bought from anyone in the 7th year, since no watch is kept over them like the like of these. The Yehuda says, "Sfichim of mustard are permitted, since transgressors are not suspected concerning them." Reb Shimon says, "All sfichim are permitted except sfichim of cabbage, since the like of these do not exist among wild vegetables, but the comments say all sfichim are forbidden." Okay.
Right.
Right. And it's over here. Okay. Haros. Okay. A Gimel base. Rameir says oil is always beginning, always is all. Reb says oil is always beginning level of tuma, and the sages say even honey. Reb Shimon Tzatzori says even wine. Regarding a mass of olives which fell into an oven, and the oven was kindled, if the mass consists of exactly an egg's volume of olives, the oven is tahor. If the mass consists of more than an egg's volume of olives, the oven is tummy for as soon as the first drop of oil emerges, it is rendered tummy by an egg's volume of food. If the olives were separate, even if they consist of a saw, the oven is tahor. Regarding one contaminated with corpse tumor who squeezed olives and grapes, if the olives and grapes consist of exactly an egg's volume, the extracted liquid is tahor, provided he does not touch the place of the liquid. If the grapes of olives consist of more than an egg's volume, the juice is tameh, since as soon as the first drop emerges, it's rendered tameh by an egg's volume of food. If it was a zav or a zava, even if he squeezed only a single fruit, the liquid is tameh, for as soon as the first drop emerges, it is rendered tameh through being carried by the zava. Regarding a zav who milked a goat, the milk is tameh, or as soon as the first drop emerges, it is rendered tameh through being carried by the zav. Regarding an egg's volume of food that one placed in the sun and it shrank, and similarly an olive's volume of a corpse, an olive's volume of an animal carcass, or a lentil's volume of a sheretz, and an olive's volume of a pigol, an olive's volume of nosa, or an olive's volume of kalib, these are tahor, and one is not liable on their account for consuming pigol, nosa, and kalib. If he placed them in the rain and they swelled, they are tummy, and one is liable on their account for consuming pigol, nosa, and kalib. Okay.
Hey.
All right. And we are on to Menachos. Okay, Gimel. If two mincha offerings in which kamitza had not been performed mixed together, if it is possible to perform kamitza in each by itself, they're valid. If not, they're invalid. If a chametz mixed with a mincha offering in which kamitza had not been performed, it is not burnt on the altar. But if he burnt it, the one in which kamitza had performed is credited to the owner, and the one in which kamitza had not been performed is not credited to the owner. If it's chametz mixed with its remainder, or the remainder of another mincha offering, he should not burn it on the altar, but if he did burn it, it's credited to the owner. If the chametz became tamei and he offered it, the tzitz affects acceptance. If he went out and he offered it, the tzitz does not affect acceptance. So the tzitz accepts acceptance for that which is tamei, but not for that which went out. If the remainder became tamei, burnt or lost, according to the rule of Rebbe Eliezer, it is valid, but according to the rule of Rebbe Shua, it is invalid. If it was not placed in a sacred vessel, it is invalid, and Rebbe Shimon validates it. And if he burnt its chametz twice, it's valid. The chametz is part of an essential to the validity of a larger part. For the Isseron, a smaller part is essential for the validity of a larger part. For wine, its smaller part is essential to the validity of a larger part. And for oil, a smaller part is essential to the validity of a larger part. The flour and the oil are essential to the validity of each other. The chametz and the frankincense are essential to the validity of each other.
Okay. By the way, it's kumetz, not chometz.
What did I say? I said
I
chametz?
think chometz, and it's
Chametz.
chometz is vinegar, and kumetz
That's right.
kumetz
That's right.
is the kmitza, the bit of flour.
Right. Chametz. Okay. He who makes it we are on Vav Ches. He who makes a net of prohibiting dates is permitted date honey. If he makes a net of prohibiting winter grapes, he is permitted vinegar of winter grapes. Rabbi Yehuda ben Becerra says, whenever the derivative carries the name of its source, and he makes a net of prohibiting the source, he is forbidden the derivative as well. And the sages, however, permit it. One who makes a net of prohibiting wine is permitted apple wine. If he prohibited oil, he is permitted sesame oil. If honey, he is permitted date honey. If vinegar is permitted, vinegar of winter grapes. If leek is permitted, leeks with a head. If vegetables is permitted, wild vegetables because of an appellative.
That's it.
If one made a net of prohibiting cabbage, he is forbidden asparagus. Asparagus, he is permitted cabbage. If it's grits, he is forbidden grits pottage. Reb Yossi, however, permits it, and if grits pottage, he is permitted grits. If grits pottage, he is also forbidden garlic. Reb Yossi says, however, permits it. If garlic, he is permitted grits pottage. If lentils, he is forbidden waste of lentils. Reb Yossi, however, permits it, and if waste of lentils, he is permitted lentils. If one says wheat grain, wheat grains, wheat grain, wheat grains, with respect to my tasting them, he is forbidden them, whether in the form of flour or bread. Grits, grits, with respect to my tasting them, he is forbidden them, whether raw or cooked. Rabbi Yehuda says if he says konam, grits, or wheat grain, with respect to my tasting, is permitted to do them raw. Okay.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that's it.
okay.
We're done.
Great that we were able to make this. I'm sorry about Friday. I didn't see your message till later on in the day.
It was,
You
it
made
was,
early.